Welcome to Paranormal Central, broadcasting live from Central California with your hosts Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas. Broadcasting video worldwide at ParanormalCentral.net and broadcasting audio on the Dark Matter Network at artbell.com. Are you ready to witness something that you cannot explain?
I'm looking for you. You're looking for me. We have to decide what it will be. Can it be true? Can I believe the unexplained? Look into the sky. You realize you're not alone. Open your eyes. You can find the trail that control.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Central, coming to you live from Central California in the biggest city in the world called Fresno, the one they make fun of. Wherever you hear a city on TV and movies, they always make fun of Fresno. Well, I'm going to tell you why, because we have it all here and they're just freaking jealous. It's as simple as that. We have everything going on here in Fresno, and that's why we started this about 20 million years ago, because I wanted to find out what was really going on. So, my name is Jeffrey Gonzalez. I am the host of Paranormal Central, and I started a little tiny group called the Sanger Paranormal Society about 12 years ago. And I brought in my friends' team to help me find out what was going on, because I was just getting swamped with UFO reports, Bigfoot reports, zombie report, no, not zombies, but ghost reports, and I couldn't handle it, so I put a team together, and now I have all these people around me, and we are having a blast. And right now, because we had so much stuff that we wanted to show you, we started this little tiny radio show, and it's called Paranormal Central. And now I have a co-host named Alan Thomas.
Hello, everyone.
Who almost didn't show up tonight.
Almost.
And my engineer, who's in front of me, who you can't see because she's top secret, wanted by the DOD, FBI, CIA, Emerald.
Hi, not wanted.
And so we're going to go ahead and get into it, because we have a great show for you tonight. And there is no doubt about it. We have... Oh my gosh, let's see. Right now we're going to have the Squatch Report. And for those who are tuning in for the very first time, if you are on the artbell.com Dark Matter Network, you can watch, or actually go to the homepage, I believe, and there they have the photographs that we're going to be talking about tonight. And Mr. Danny Valderrama is going to be explaining to us what each of those photographs mean. Danny, are you there?
Hello.
Yes.
Hey,
he is
Danny.
here.
Yeah.
All right. Danny, because we didn't have a show last week, well, we sort of kind of, but we held back because we had the technical difficulties, and we didn't have the right signal going to Art Bell, so we decided to hold off, and I think Danny's now going to have double the fun on Sasquatch. Is that right?
That's right. You got a double dose.
Double dose. So we're going to, hopefully, I think it's going to take a while. So maybe about 25, 30 minutes. And then right after that, we have an author by the name of Martha Hazzard Decker. I love the middle name, Hazzard. And she wrote a book called Paranormal Profiling. And she's actually used to be in law enforcement, retired. And she's going to give us tips on, if you are a investigator, how not to waste your time, because there's a lot of hoaxers out there, and she's going to tell us what are the appropriate ways of interviewing people before you go in and waste your hard effort. And you have to realize that it's our money, our time that we're putting into this, and we don't have time for goofballs. And hopefully she'll, show us and help us out. So can't wait for that one. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the Squatch Report. And we're going to go ahead and start showing you guys some photographs, and start for last week's stuff that we didn't get to. And I'm going to go to picture number 1. Danny, let's go ahead and head to it. So right now, what I'm going to put up is a photograph of Google Earth map. Is that right?
No.
No? All right, what do you want me to show first?
It's the little tiny creature.
The little tiny... Oh, the mouse thing. I can do that. There it is. Okay. Go for it, dude.
That's story number 1. This is from the California Academy of Sciences page from June 26, 2014. That little creature right here is called the Macroskeletes micas. It's a new species of small mammal discovered by scientists from the California of Sciences in San Francisco. This new species of round-eared senjai, or elephant shrew, was found in the desert of southwestern Africa near Namibia. It has just to let you know that it doesn't take overnight to discover a new species. These guys had it took them 9 expeditions between 2005 and 2011, and they had to collect 16 different species to compare it to, and they also had to check all the museums around the world to confirm that this was actually a new species. So it took quite a while, and they found out that it's related to elephants, sea cows, and aardvarks. It's kind of weird because elephants are supposed to be afraid of mice, and this one kind of looks like one.
Okay.
It's rare for a new mammal to be found, but 3 of its relatives have been found in the last 10 years. So it looks kind of weird. It looks kind of like a mouse or a rat, or it has a long nose on it, small body, related to the antelope and anteater too.
Now, this was founded in Africa, you said?
Yeah, near Namibia.
Okay.
Yeah. And it eats termites. It's monogamous. Its babies are born with fur and ready to run. And it was found by one of the scientists by accident. He almost stepped on it. And he noticed that it was something kind of strange. So they did a bunch of DNA research on it and found out that, hey, they do have a new species here. So new species are still found all the time.
Okay.
That's just proof there to let you know.
All right. Now, does this have anything to do with the shutting down in New Mexico?
No.
Okay.
No.
Now, why did I think that this was associated with that?
I do not know.
So,
This was found in Africa, so.
Do you have a report about the New Mexico shutdown of the land, by any chance?
No.
Okay.
No, the land grab, that's what it's being called, is
Right.
the land grab.
Okay.
No, I don't.
All right. I could have sworn this had something to do with it. Okay, no problem.
But they're shutting down Africa.
They're going to shut down Africa.
Okay, right on. All right. Let's go to the next. What next one shall I be putting up there,
The
Ben?
next one is Avocado Lake.
Okay, do you want me to put the Google map?
Sure.
Or which one do you want me to put up? It's your call.
Go ahead and put up the Google map one.
Okay. And
This is from right in our own backyard, right here in Avocado Lake.
That's right.
This is from the Bigfoot Believers page. Adam Bird noticed this on Matt Moneymaker's Twitter feed. Somebody had posted this picture on his Twitter account, but let me give you a little background on Avocado Lake, which you're looking at now. It's 23 miles east of Fresno. It's along Highway 180, and then you make a left onto Piedra Road and go about 5 miles. There's picnic areas there, swimming, fishing. It's a 210-acre park. 83 of those acres are the fishing lake, and there's a boat ramp there and everything. And
Okay.
so, this was sent to Matt Moneymaker via Twitter, and it shows a picture. You can go to the next one.
Okay.
It shows a picture of a blurry silhouette of something walking across a rocky shore.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that somebody who monitors Matt Moneymaker's Twitter saw this photograph, and I guess Matt Moneymaker tweeted it then, right?
Yeah, either he retweeted it or somebody saw it on his Twitter account. I don't know. I'm not sure how Twitter works. I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah, I know. I'm not either, and people are yelling at me that I should be, and I should.
But
Because
it has gone viral. It was on every page of Bigfoot. You couldn't go to any page without seeing this.
See,
And it kind of appears to be running or walking fast.
I don't think it's
a
at
rocky
the
area.
lake.
You know, there's nobody else around it.
It's at the river.
It has the right amount of leg lift on it.
Oh, I didn't see that. Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
I didn't see that, Danny. Oh, crap.
The leg lift is the right amount that we're looking for,
Oh
but
my.
it doesn't appear to be overly large.
Right.
I don't know, small or normal-sized person.
Explain to everybody what the lift of the leg there is significant
Well,
about
if you notice
Bigfoot.
in the Patty video that was shot in 1967, every step she made, there was an angle of her leg that cannot be duplicated by a person. And if you watch people walk, you might notice them. They don't lift their back leg when their trailing leg when they're walking. It doesn't lift up very high.
Right.
And on Patty's video, it's a natural gait that she's using, and you don't really notice it until you're looking at it. But her leg lifts almost kind of like an L shape.
Right.
And nobody in the world.
Oh my God!
walks like that.
I didn't even catch that, dude. That right there. Either if someone is playing a joke or a hoax, then obviously they know something about Bigfoot, because Matt Moneymaker, for one thing, tweeted this and it got sent to him. But if, for example, if this is a hoax, they know a lot about Bigfoot, because not that many people know about the leg lift like that. So
and you could duplicate it if you were running, but there's only this one picture.
Right.
So we don't know if it was running or walking fast.
Right.
So
wow, I didn't catch that.
Nobody else is around it, and it kind of, there's no backstory to it. It's just the picture.
Right.
And it appears to be one color, one solid color. It doesn't appear to be at the lake, at Avocado Lake. Just on the other side of Avocado Lake is the Kings River. So it looks like it's along the Kings River.
That's where it is.
And because of all the rocks there.
See, I
and
actually
on the
think
other side of the Kings River, if you go back to the Google Map picture, is Trimmer Springs Road. And if you can look just northwest of Trimmer Springs on the other side of the river there, to the north and the south of that river, you can see orchards and vineyards and a food source.
Yeah, right there. So that is toward the hills then, the orchards, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Which makes
That's
sense.
on the hillside,
Which totally makes sense. And we've been talking about the lack of water, and when you don't have lack of water in the mountains, then you're going to lose food sources. And then when that happens, all of the animals come down our way, and you're going to talk about that.
I'm going to talk about that later.
Okay,
Yep.
right on. Okay, so all right, so let's see, I got that one up there.
See, I think that was a
Next,
video
Brian
still.
Sykes.
I think we're going to see more of that from Matt Moneymaker or Finding Bigfoot.
Okay, what? There's a couple of Sykes ones. Which one do you want me to put up?
You can put up the one holding up the vial.
Got it. All right, we're on.
All right, this is from the Brian Sykes study, the DNA study. It's called the Royal Society paper. It was released in July 1st. Sykes is a Bigfoot enthusiast. He says it's not over, even though his testing part is done. He said it's not over, but he hopes cryptozoologists will be taken seriously. He feels that they've been treated badly by scientists over the last 50 years. But he found 36 hair samples, or he tested 36 hair samples from U.S., Russia, Indonesia, India, Bhutan, Nepal, and found out that they were from bears, wolves, raccoons, porcupines, deer, sheep, at least one human sample, and a cow.
So no Bigfoot out of all that. No Bigfoot. Even Smiha, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah,
it was a bear.
It was a bear.
Yeah.
So how did Smiha get a bear sample when he shot the Bigfoot? I don't understand that. Was that
he shot a Bigfoot and had it bleeding on his foot?
He also shot, like, he wore those boots for a year.
Right, but
and shot 2 bears.
But he gave Sykes a bear sample, a bear hair and bear meat. Isn't that correct?
Right.
How can
I think it was a wolf or something like that.
Okay, well then
I think one came back as a wolf, one came back as a bear, and then.
Okay, well then come on. I mean, what kind of right? I mean, if you shoot, you know what? Why would he give Sykes a wolf and a bear piece of meat? That doesn't make any sense to me. Does it?
I don't know.
Okay, see that? Okay, let's stop right there.
Well, then he obviously didn't shoot anything.
Well, either he.
Well, I do have an explanation, but it's at the end.
Okay, well, I'll wait for your explanation there, Mr. Danny, because I want to definitely get into that. All right, let's put up the second Sykes.
Sykes was named Cryptozoologist of the Year, as well as Bigfooter of the Year for 2013 because of this report.
Oh, please.
And he also has a book coming out September 25th of this year.
There he goes.
The Yeti Enigma.
And all he did was find animal DNA, no Bigfoot in his.
Well, no. He didn't find anything.
He did find a new type of a bear.
Bear, yeah.
Polar bear.
It was an ancient polar bear.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was maybe it was the polar bear that left the impression on my window.
It could be, but the sample that he tested was from India, and it was 40 years old.
Well, that's what
and they got DNA out of it.
That's what they said. It was a polar bear that left the impression on my window. That's what they said.
So somewhere along the line, polar bears and brown bears had to have mated in order for him to get that sample.
Okay.
But
That's
Matt
interesting.
Moneymaker believes that the study was probably corrupted at the beginning.
I truly believe that myself. But go on.
Yeah, but he also believes that the study may have been rushed because of he's making a TV documentary
Right.
that came out already. So he didn't have his time constraints didn't allow him to test as long as he could have or should have.
Right.
He said Matt Moneymaker says that he could pull it apart all day and find something to say about it. He says it's basically meaningless. He did prioritize the samples and leaving out many of them. He does believe the DNA analysis was done with the highest integrity and accuracy, but the DNA that he tested, none of it came from the BFRO.
Yeah, and you want to know something? I contacted Sykes myself, and I told him what I had. Sykes came to Fresno. All right, he came to Fresno and sat down with Smiha and got his DNA. Why didn't he call me? That's what I want to know. Why didn't he call me when I had the vials ready to go? I could have gave him one. I mean, we had the freaking windows, people. And I emailed Sykes and I told him what I had. Matter of fact, our professor even contacted Sykes and advised him on what we had, and possibly I think there's something going on there. Now, I don't want to speculate, and I don't want to, but
he could have gotten the DNA out of there because he got DNA out of a 40-year-old sample. He says.
Yeah. So why didn't Sykes contact me if he was here? Is because he knew. I mean, I'm thinking that he knew that we probably had it, and he didn't want to expose it.
Or they know
Another thing would be
have
that
it.
all the samples that Sykes did test were all hair. Every single one of them.
Yeah, I mean,
were hair samples.
damn it, we had saliva.
I think that's what when he first started doing his testing. When I was reading, like I was looking at, okay, we could send some DNA, and then he had like a requirement list of the things. He was only accepting hair. Only.
Oh, well, see, that's stupid.
See, that's what his requirement list
Just
was.
hair? Well, I mean, that's stupid. That's right there. I mean,
Only
why not
boots-
blood?
The boots weren't just hair.
No, that was blood.
That was blood, yeah.
But apparently they couldn't get anything off the boots.
Right, you
Yeah.
said it was degraded.
Yeah,
So
degraded.
anyways,
So
the BFRO.
as a professor and one that people speak highly of, do you think that his requirements would include any and all? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
If it was a complete study, it would.
Thank you very much.
Well,
For-
Melba
Well,
Ketchum,
even
she's
the
still standing
whole
behind
hair thing.
hers.
Right, huh?
The whole hair thing, I thought I'm not like an expert on DNA, but don't you still need the follicle for the DNA?
Not
For the
anymore,
best
I don't
DNA?
think. For the best, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have ways of getting around that now. I
But
mean-
wouldn't it, like
Well, I
you
got
said,
an
wouldn't it?
explanation.
Danny's got an explanation. Okay, so where do you want me to go now from here?
All right, so you can go ahead and next picture. The
It's
BFRO
plain
didn't
this.
provide any samples. They didn't endorse any of them. None of the Bigfoot samples from the U.S. had a strong, credible connection to a Bigfoot sighting or any corroborating evidence. And the ones he got from Asia had even less of a story back from them. So he had 58 samples. 2 were excluded as being non-hair, which would be like a fiber or moss or lichen. So those were taken out right away. And only 37 of the remaining 56 were selected for DNA analysis. So 19 of those were excluded from testing because of the budget constraints and the time constraints and the amount of material available, which means it was only like one single strand of hair, so they didn't bother testing those. 7 yielded no DNA, and of the 30 remaining samples, they did have DNA, but all contained base pairing sequences that were 100% compatible with known mammal species. That was the bear and the cows and all that stuff. According to the study, half of the samples were excluded because they could not be identified due to a lack of DNA quality amounts. They could not be amplified or analyzed. And Moneymaker's saying that that's because Bigfoot samples are harder to analyze, and they require more time, and that's why they're commonly excluded. Only Melba Ketchum is the one that went the extra mile and did both sides, the nuclear DNA and the mitochondrial DNA, and that's what you have to do in order to to figure out what's going on and trying to find out what it truly is. So,
Wow.
and Bigfoot samples are usually found in single strands, not clumps of hair. You're not going to find a big old pile of hair somewhere.
Right.
And Sykes was paid to do this. He had a budget. He had time constraints. Each sample cost about $2,000 to study, and that was paid for by the filmmakers and Sykes. Sykes says there was no government funding available. But if you remember, I don't know if this study was done by the government or if they're going to admit that it was done by the government. If you remember back in the 60s, there was a project done by the government to debunk UFO reports, Project Blue Book. It was a total government scam.
Right.
Astronomer Alan J. Hynek was one of the people involved, and he believed it would take a serious look at UFOs, but his job was to deny, and come up with reasons why these weren't actual UFOs.
Right.
And that ended in 1969, and of the 12,618 reports, 701 were never explained. And who's got that movie coming out?
Mr. James Fox.
James Fox. And he's offering $100,000 for proof of a UFO, either in photograph, video, or film, or debris even. If you can prove UFOs exist, he'll give you $100,000.
Wow. See, there's something going on. Did you know that our professor who did our DNA study was in contact with Sykes?
Yeah.
And
I think you sent me a couple.
And to this day, I don't know if they actually met or not. I think they did.
Yeah, because he wanted. I think he wanted
so.
to test.
I think that's
stuff
why
when you were
Smeeha
testing
came
it
to
to make sure they got
Fresno.
the same results.
Yeah,
But we never found out those results.
Yeah, I think that's why Smeeha came to Fresno, is because Sykes came to Fresno, and our professor met with Sykes. For all those who don't know about the windows of my truck, well, then you need to go and do some research on, because there's so much to tell. But we had our DNA. We had a professor, a very reputable professor, well known throughout the world, I might say, who happens to be in real close that's okay. Real close proximity, and he met. I'm pretty sure he met with Sykes, because he was telling me he was emailing Sykes back and forth. And for all those who don't know,
and a long time before he even came here, like.
Yeah. While he was in the process of analyzing our DNA, he was in complete, So there's something fishy going on there, and that's why I cannot trust anybody anymore. Emerald, Alan, I don't trust you guys either.
We were here since I was here since the beginning.
I mean, I don't know who to trust anymore. I mean, Alan could be a double freaking agent. That's all I know.
That'd be more
I'd be
me.
working for
I'm
the
doing
government.
the criminal.
Yeah, I mean, that Bigfoot wearing T-shirt he wears all the time. Can you just be a
Maybe they should
throw
take
you
my
off.
DNA.
Throw me off, man.
Maybe they'll take my DNA
I am
and get it, because I love Bigfoot.
Not going to talk to you anymore about
Paranoia.
and you know what? I don't even trust my wife. No.
But Jeffrey's like telling the truth here, because when we first got the DNA, we got offers from a lot of different places, and he was like, no. He
I am not going to send
he stayed
DNA
right on it until he had the right person.
Yeah, I'm not going to send DNA to anybody through the mail and sign on a dotted line that I have no rights whatsoever after I send it. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind?
I mean, Jeffrey sat on it for over a year, or about a year.
Yeah.
Right? Until the professor came along.
So, and he contacted me. I didn't contact him. It was just one of those times where he actually was watching Finding Bigfoot and saw the windows in Fresno, and he decided to Google it, and then found us and emailed, and that's how it all began.
Yeah.
So it was weird. So, all right, what's next?
The hunter's picture.
The hunter's picture.
Hunter.
Oh, the game cam?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, let me find that sucker.
Man, what did you think of that one? That one has me puzzled.
Where'd it go?
It kind of looks like a Bigfoot, but then it has like a big butt, like a bear. Yeah.
Well, I'll give you my 2 cents on it as soon as I find it. Hold on.
The Bigfoot I saw,
Looks kind of short.
It didn't. It had really long legs and not that big of a butt, but a female one, like if the patty one, it kind of has a big butt.
Hey.
So anyways, this was from the Hunters Nation Facebook page. It appeared on July 11th. It's only one picture, no info, and don't know where it was taken. Somebody just popped it up there with the title, "It's kind of squatchy around these parts," and that was it. It just shows something standing in front of the camera. Now at the bottom you can see the foot, and it kind of looks like nails or claws or whatever. If you look closer, you can see that it's the fern in the foreground that's making it look like claws. So it's just a foot. There is no claws on that foot.
See, the hand looks real, even though we don't have it on there.
I'm trying to find it.
It should be on
The hand
there.
does have like claws or fingernails. You can see
Yeah.
something on there.
But it looks like it has larger fingers. You know what I mean? Like big fingers.
There should be more pictures, but we only get one.
Right, yeah. That's like that one, you know, at the Avocado Lake. That one
Yeah.
looks like a still shot of a video. You know how it's all grainy and everything.
It's all grainy, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we'll see more. If it was Matt Moneymaker that put that up, he did like a tease, and they're probably going to do a Finding Bigfoot show on it later.
Yeah.
But
We don't
we
even
all
know
know
who
that
took
goes like
picture, and this one we don't know. 'Cause
it
there's
could
no
take a
name.
whole year.
Yeah,
on it
I
either.
can't find it. For all those, I'm sorry. I was really I had not that much time to load these photographs, and I cannot seem to locate that one. But it is on the artbell.com.
Want me to email it to you?
I mean, I could go to my email and get it, but I don't have time. I don't want to mess around. So, now that
Probably
picture,
right there too, and we just
I
can't
can't see it. Yeah, I
recognize
can't see it.
Yeah.
Now that photograph, I was debating a lot of people on the internet when that happened. And what is your 2 cents, Danny?
I don't know. I thought at first that those were claws at the bottom on the feet, but you look closer and you can see that it's the fern.
Right.
It's the fronds from the fern that you're seeing, and there it looks like either claws or fingernails on the foot. I mean, on the hand.
Right.
Somebody did a side to side comparison of a bear standing up.
Yeah.
Because they're saying that if you hung food in front of this camera, then the bear would be standing up trying to get the food. But if you look at the hand goes down pretty far. The hand on or the paw or whatever you want to call it on the bear in the picture only went down to about its hips, and this one kind of looks like it goes down to the knee. So the arms would be longer on this than on the picture of the bear. And it looks like it's standing pretty good there, not like it's struggling to stand up.
Well, my 2 cents on this is that, all right, if this was a bear and somebody set up a camera, and it was awfully low, where like David and them put cameras at knee high, thigh high. If this was a bear, then it should have snapped a photograph of the bear getting to that location on all fours. Then it should have taken this picture. Now, because if it was on his hind legs, right, then you're going to the theory that, okay, in order for it to be on his hind legs, it must have been trying to reach something way up there. What are the odds of somebody getting a bear standing up on its hind legs on a game camera? That the odds are like 1,000,000,000,000 to 1. Seriously. You get many photographs of bears standing up all over the internet, but human beings are taking those photographs because they're probably at locations where there's an abundance of bears doing different things. Game cameras, there are trillions and trillions of acres and trees out there. For you to be lucky enough to put up a camera and get a bear standing up, no, that is not going to happen unless you entice it some way, like you said, putting food or hanging food right above. Otherwise, there's only 2 possibilities. The theory is your food hanging from a string, or that camera actually caught that thing walking by. That's it.
There's a little bit of motion blur on it. But, the common things they say with Bigfoot, when you hear a report, is that you can see muscles. It had a lot of muscle definition. And here you don't see that. It's just like a kind of like a big blob, like a lazy teenager or something.
Okay.
And you don't see that. And I did some testing with a game camera, and I found out that the closer that I got to it, within like a foot, I was able to clear the camera before it flashed. So I could walk past a picture, I could walk past the camera, and it would flash after. So if you got the picture, there would be nothing in it. So
And that one's close.
I don't know how far this one was away from it, but I was like a foot away, and I was able to, walking at a normal pace, I would be able to clear the camera before it took a picture.
Okay.
So I think this one was stopped in front of the camera for some reason.
Yeah.
See, what if the guy was baiting a Bigfoot, to stop in front of the camera, and a bear stopped in front of the camera and grabbed the bait instead, and stood up.
But you see the arms on this particular picture, therefore the bear at that particular time is not grabbing the food.
Right.
I don't see a tail
It
either.
was not reaching up.
Huh?
There's
tail.
no tail.
Okay.
Tail,
Do
tail.
bears have tails?
Yeah, little ones.
Tiny tails.
Okay. Is there a tail on this one?
I'm not
Nope, I don't see
You
one.
don't see a tail.
Hmm.
Then that's telling me right there, no bear.
Well, the hand looks like a hand.
Now-
it don't look like a paw.
Now, Danny, didn't I say, I don't know if I told you, but people go Google the Freeman Bigfoot
Right.
video.
Oh yeah, the Freeman Bigfoot.
This one looks, the size, the Bigfoot Freeman video is a big, fat Bigfoot.
Yep.
A
Yep.
big guy, just like
There's
this.
no muscle on that one either.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I was comparing this Bigfoot to, was the Freeman Bigfoot. Because you guys have to understand, there are all different types of sizes, shapes, colors of Bigfoots. So don't think this Bigfoot could be a 11, 12 foot tall Bigfoot. Maybe this Bigfoot here, it happens to be an abnormal size, weighing, so much and fat. I mean, who knows? But
Might be eating out of trash cans, eating all the McDonald's leftovers.
absolutely. So, all right, what is next?
Next is from KTVU in San Francisco. They did a story from Lake Tahoe.
Oh.
And these are they're calling them drought bears. Bears that are coming out of the mountains because everything's drying up in the mountains.
Right.
So people in Lake Tahoe are accustomed to bears emptying their trash cans, but now the creeks in the high mountains have run dry, along with their food sources. So everything's coming down. All the landscape's dried out. There's no, if they're eating plants or anything, it's all gone.
Right. And
So
like we were talking a bit
bears
before,
and everything else are coming down the hill.
They're coming down the hill.
That would make the Bigfoot over by Avocado Lake more
More real, more
more believable. That it
believable.
would
There
be
you go.
there.
Yes. So
So you don't have the picture up, though. You can't find it?
No, I can't find it.
Okay.
So
Well, anyways, on the Art Bell
oh no
network, you can go on there.
no. The one on the beach, I got it up right now.
Yeah,
Yep.
the beach.
Yep.
That one was
That-
taken on July 9th last week, and it's Glenbrook Beach in North Tahoe.
Okay.
It was taken by the Nevada Department of Wildlife, and they've had 8 bears come down in the last 10 days. That was since Friday.
And they had to
They have
shoot
8
that
bears.
one. They shot
And
that
one was hit by a car, and that one was killed.
Yeah.
And one of the one on there was a male and a female on the beach, and the male had to be euthanized because he wasn't afraid of humans.
Wow.
He would go up to them and he would open up their backpacks and take out the food, and they tried to chase him away, and he had absolutely no fear. So
Wow.
they had to
that's-
take care of him.
Yeah.
That's
And the other
one
ones
right
were all
there.
released back into the mountains.
So, hey,
But I predict Bigfoot sightings are going to be up on the rise.
definitely.
Everything's coming down the hill.
Yes, it
You know,
is.
The small animals are the food source, and the predators are going to follow the food source, and they need everybody needs water.
Right.
So
Right.
this might be the year. Time's running out for the big guy.
Well, we are going hunting. No, I mean, yeah. So, all right, man. What else? What do we got?
Okay. The last one is just kind of a teaser.
Okay.
It's the last picture, and it's of a white Bigfoot that was spotted in Shaver Lake, in the area of Shaver Lake. And this is it's a story we're working on for next week, and I'll give you most of the more details next week. But you'll only hear it on Paranormal Central.
That's
Nobody else
right.
has this one.
So Danny, just to make it really, Danny got info on a sighting, and the person who spotted this particular sighting is taking us up next Saturday to go to that
Yep.
particular spot.
Yep.
So, bum,
You know,
bum, bum, bum.
And I did some more researching on the Bigfoot in Shaver Lake, and I found out that there's been a couple of sightings that were just reported, and Alan sent me a link to, and there's one on Sweetgrass Road that's like a block away from 168, where a family of 3 people witnessed it outside their window of their cabin. They saw it walking by, and it was being chased by a little pack of wolves.
Really?
That wanted to eat what it was carrying.
Oh.
It was
It was
carrying like a
actually-
big bird.
The coyotes are actually jumping up and trying to grab the bird out of the Bigfoot's hand.
Yep, and that's what woke them up at night, and they could see this large creature walking by their window.
So was the coyotes the pets of the Bigfoot, or you know, I mean, like they weren't afraid of him,
No.
Oh, very
They're, like,
cool.
probably helping him catch it.
Right.
even
They
though
wanted a
the
piece of it.
dogs are afraid of him.
No.
And there was another sighting on Dorabella Road where it dead ends, and I walked down that road with my kids, and because it leads to the lake, and there was a couple there that were having a picnic during the day, and they saw one step out of the woods and saw them, and then went back into the woods, and that was in 2012, and he thought it was a hoax, but then thinking back about it, he said there wasn't anybody that big
Right.
that could be there, so he thinks it's a real one.
Wow.
But anyways, these guys, this guy works on my route, and he told me that I asked him what they were doing for 4th of July, and he said, oh, we went camping. He took his family up camping over the weekend, and his brother and his dad went up first to secure their spot, and then he came down with his family and some other guys from work. And when they got there, his brother told them about a weird experience that he had walking down one of the trails. And he said that he was walking down the trail, and he saw something out of the corner of his eye, so he looked up and saw something standing behind a tree. And he doesn't know about Bigfoot, and not a believer or anything like that, so he doesn't have a lot of information about it. So Bigfoot didn't cross his mind when he was looking at this. Like us, every time we hear something or see something or smell something, we think Bigfoot.
Right.
He didn't think that. He was trying to process what he was looking at. And the closest thing that he could think of was a large white trash bag behind a tree. And that's all he thought it was. You could see it from the waist up was white, and the lower half was black. So he thought it was a white and a black trash bag. And maybe because that was the fur shining in the sunlight, that he thought maybe that was it. I don't know. We'll have to talk to him more. We're going to meet with him.
Yes, we're going to meet
But
with him.
he didn't think much about it, kept going down the trail, and then when he came back down the trail, he looked for it again, and it was still there. So he started looking around, he gets this uneasy feeling, he looks back, and it's gone. And he could hear something running. He could hear bipedal running away from where he was looking. So they just went back to camp, waited for everybody else, and when they got there, my friend had his dog with him. He took a pit bull up there, and the pit bull was fine, acting normal, walking around the camp and all that stuff. And so they decided to take him down the trail after his brother told him about what was going on. Took the dog down the trail, and the dog hit the brakes when he got to the trail. He would not go down the trail. He said he was kind of pulling on him, trying to drag him down the trail. The dog would not go, so he gave up and took him back to camp. But it's another white Bigfoot report from Shaver Lake.
Yep.
And your friend is like a mountain guy, right? He goes out all the time, so he knows, like, from what I understand.
Yeah, he knows about
you know.
Bigfoot. Yeah, he says
Yeah.
he wants to get him too. So we,
Right on. So, okay, well, we have a little trip.
so I had him call. We
Yep.
took a long time to get this guy on the phone. He didn't want anything to do with it, but we finally got him on Friday. I said, call Jeffrey. Here's the number. Come on, you got to do it. And he finally did.
Yep, and I spoke to him on the phone, and I calmed him down a little bit because, you know, when people talk to somebody they don't know and explain to them, you know what, I saw a monster, please don't make fun of me. I told him, man, you know what, you won't believe
You're
what's
not the
going on
only
there.
one.
You're not the only one. And we had a really good conversation, and I talked him into just taking us up to the spot and showing us exactly where he was at, and that's all he has to do, and we're going to keep his name out of it. So,
Yeah. So we're going to try to get video pictures and show you next week.
oh man, hopefully we're going to get something.
Yeah, and there's a really cool where it was sighted at. I'm not going to say because it's usually a highway for Bigfoots, and we'll tell you about that next time. That's something to think about. What is a highway for Bigfoots?
So, all right, Danny, anything else?
All right. That's it.
Right on.
A lot of good
I will
stuff.
call you in a couple days, and you know, we'll set up something for
Okay.
Saturday because we're going to take a trip.
All right.
All right. Thanks, man.
Later,
guys.
Danny.
See ya. All right, let's go ahead and get on Martha Hazzard Decker of Paranormal Profiling, and we're going to talk about her book And we're going to give away 2 on the air tonight, everyone. Autographed copies, 2 autographed copies to anyone when we ask you to call in, not right now.
And the chat goes wild.
Oh, you know what? Stop. Don't call her. Don't call her yet. Hang up. Call her on this one. Oh, crap. Here. Because we're going to have people calling on the other one.
Oh, yeah.
I almost forgot. Yeah. Oh, 2244. So, all right. I can't wait for this. We're going to talk about her book, and I'm going to go ahead and put her book right now on the screen so you can see what we're talking about.
See, now you put up another picture on the internet that has been getting a lot of...
We'll talk about that after this.
Are we? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Man, that one is like... It probably has 80 comments
Don't
now.
call now.
Don't call now, people.
Oh, they can't wait.
I want a book. Show me a book.
Nothing like a book. Actually, this is a good book. I didn't read the book, but I read a lot about this Martha
Hazzard. I love that middle name.
Man, you know, she's been doing it a long time, and she really knows what she's talking about. And she was going into a lot of places where, you know, they could be hoaxing her. And
Was she calling in?
Calling on this one.
Oh, Martha, if you're listening, we were going to give you a call, Martha. Oh, I'll tell you what. Go ahead and talk to her on that one. And just say, hey, we're going to call you on another line.
yeah, there we go. That's a good idea. But yeah.
Yeah, so.
She took like all her police skills
Exactly.
and put it right into the paranormal thing.
Yep.
And then I saw today that Anthony Sanchez
Mhm.
started a new website, and he has an app tool that goes on your phone for paranormal investigation, like checking algorithms on EVPs and stuff like that.
Go
So
for it.
I thought about checking that out.
Martha, are you there? Hello, Martha.
Hello.
Oh, you had it. You're right. You're right.
Oh, you got it. Had it.
Hi, Martha. You there? Hi, Martha. You there?
Hello?
Hi, Martha. Can you
I'm
hear?
here.
Awesome. Can you hear me all
Are
right?
you? I'm here. Are you?
Yeah, we are now.
We are now. Hi, Martha. How's it going?
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you for coming on tonight and talking about your book. We have the cover of the book right now on live stream on the web, so everybody can take a look at it. Let's talk about your background. All right, you are a retired law enforcement personnel, correct? Uh-oh.
I think so. I can hardly hear you.
You can hardly. Why is that?
It's because your cord. Hold on.
Okay, hold on a second. Oh, I see what's going on. Go for it. Hold on there, Martha. Just rip it off. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I see.
Okay, you there now?
Now I can hear a little better.
And we can hear her better,
okay,
too.
correct. Okay, I had a
Yeah.
cover on my phone. Yeah, sorry about that. All right, let's talk about your background, because that's what got me hooked on you. Is your background of law enforcement?
Okay.
How long have you? Well, how long have you? Well, actually, you retired from law enforcement. How long were you in?
Well, I retired in 2007. I actually started in the mid-'80s as a reserve officer, and in Texas, reserve officers are the exact same as a paid officer. You just are volunteering your time. There's no difference other than one gets paid and one doesn't. And when I did that back in the mid-'80s, I was the only female in the county out here in East Texas where I'm at. So that was something else.
Wow. So you were an assistant state.
I was
Chief.
the assistant chief of police
Right.
when I retired. Yes.
Right. So
Yeah.
how long were you in the force?
Well, I was there for that department for 15 years.
All right.
So
All right.
I've got about 17 years probably in law enforcement.
Okay.
And then when I left there, I went to work for the state, but on a civil capacity for 7 years as an investigator.
Right on. So
Yeah.
in the police force, and since you were assistant chief of police, you must have heard and saw a lot of weird stuff.
Oh yeah, this is East Texas. There was a lot.
Okay, now I'm gonna, before we get into your book, I want to find out exactly what type of things did you see? Because, I have a lot of friends in the force, and they really can't talk about a lot of the stuff that comes over the wire when they're on patrol, or a lot of the calls they go out, because they're still part of the police force. But since you're not in the police force anymore, you can spill your guts for me, can't you?
Yeah, I could have talked about it beforehand, too, pretty much.
Okay. Let's talk about unidentified flying objects. I'm pretty sure you guys got a lot of calls on that.
No, we only had a call once or twice in all the years. I worked patrol probably about half of that time that I was with the police department. And then when when I was sergeant also and then assistant chief, I was, the detective, and I was working a regular day shift. But by the time I retired, I was back doing my favorite shift because we needed one filled, which was the Tuesday night through Saturday night, 4 to midnight, which out here at the lake is like the happening time.
Right. You would think.
So but usually when we got those calls, it was a smackover plant on the east side of the lake. However, when I would work, the night shift, or when I was working deep nights earlier on, I would go out to the spillway because we're on the lake. The spillway was in our city, and I would go sit out of the spillway, and the water from the spillway goes into the Trinity River, and it's dark out there. And I would go sit up. You go up the hill to get into where all the spillway buildings and everything are. And I used to park my car up there, to watch for traffic and stuff. But mostly I'd sit up there and I'd watch the sky. And, if there's nothing going on, it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's a great place to go sit and just watch. I can tell you I saw a lot of what looked like shooting stars through the years, a lot of them. I also know that there's different things that have been sighted in East Texas, not far from where we are. Probably the strangest thing in the sky, which wasn't really strange, was I was working a patrol shift the day the shuttle went over our town. And I would happen to be outside prepping the car to go out on patrol, and I hear this loud noise like an explosion. And unfortunately, this is East Texas, and there's a lot of meth labs. So my first instinct was to look at the tree line at the top and do a 360, trying to find the smoke from the meth lab that just blew up.
Right.
And then I looked up. We had no idea the shuttle was going over. We didn't know it was going down. And that was about a 36-hour shift. We had bits and pieces from there land in our city. So that was probably the most unusual thing we had.
Wow. I remember that day, too.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. So UFOs, not really. I work, I work for the phone company, and I get a lot of people telling me some weird stuff. So, you got involved in investigating the paranormal, mostly spirits and ghosts and hauntings, right?
Well, yeah, because that's what we get most of our phone calls for. However, 2 of the members of our team are former MUFON members.
Ah.
One was a president. Is Jane Nelms. Jane and Dave Nelms are on our team, and Jane was the president of the Dallas chapter. And then we have Nancy Davis, who used to live in Corpus Christi, and she was with their chapter.
Right on. Okay,
so we're open to all sorts of things, but the majority of the calls we get seem to be mostly
hauntings,
ghosts, demons, all that type of stuff.
Right. So now, we do the same thing. We investigate pretty much everything, and I get a lot of calls because I have a 24-hour hotline. And, sometimes, just like you guys, I get calls early in the morning, all times of the day. And we get a lot, just like you guys. And I remember talking to several people who investigate the paranormal. And we talk about, how do you figure out who is telling the truth? How do you figure out, shall I roll on this particular call and not waste my time? Because, we do this out of our own time, and we use our own money, our own and so it's hard to really go out because it gets very expensive with all the gadgets that you have to purchase and gas money, and So how that was? I mean, since you had background in law enforcement, I was looking for a book like this, to be honest, because I needed to find out if someone is going to call me a 2-hour drive away, and I need to interview this person on the phone first before I travel 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and find out when I get there it's all a joke.
Right.
So
and that's that was us too. Living in Texas, it's always a distance.
You're right. So okay, so when, like, for example, when you got a call, and who got the calls? Was it you, or was it a particular person or phone number? Who got the majority of the phone calls?
All the phone calls are directed to me, and the number that's out there for everybody is my number.
Okay. And
so sometimes somebody might contact another member of our team, and they may just ask a couple questions, but usually it all falls back on me. Now, I may have somebody else, in our team,
right,
run with it too to ask do the interview.
Right.
But they initially come to me.
Awesome. Okay, so when somebody calls you, and let's say it's a haunting, all right. Let's say, I'm thinking, I've been hearing some things in my house. And I don't know what's going on. What are the first things that, actually, the person that's calling, if it's a youngster or a young person, how many calls do you get of that?
We get a few calls of from juveniles. I probably would get contacted more online with juveniles, and we are very careful with
right,
with minors, because we just
yeah, oh yeah,
the parents,
right.
There's some things that we may say to a teenager, but the general thing is you need to talk to your parents.
Right. So when right, okay, so when somebody calls you on the phone, just like me, I ask them to go ahead and spill it, tell me the story right away. When you advise them to go ahead and tell the story from beginning to end, what would be the one thing that would put up a red flag for you?
Sometimes it's like if I was doing an interview of a suspect even, or even a witness in law enforcement, when you ask them to start at the beginning, if it's a specific incident, you want them to start at the beginning and tell you what happened, and you just let them flow through the thing. But they start with 2 or 3 days or years earlier or something. Sometimes that's a red flag. Possibly, if there might be something up, because that would be probably a suspect in a criminal case. But you have to just kind of learn to listen. And I have, over 20 years of interviewing people.
Right.
And it does come natural to me after so much time. But when they tell the story, sometimes I have red flags, sometimes I don't have red flags. But I listen to the story. I had one lady that called, and the person I pictured in my head was just was a crazy goofball, 50-something, just nuts.
Right.
And she actually was she turned out to be a little mentally off in the end, but when we actually saw her in person, she was in her 30s, articulate, and not at all what was coming across, because she was so hysterical. But, for example, with that call, she tells me this stuff. If a child's involved, we try to work faster with something. As she's talking, she's not telling me anything that's really anything that most people would worry about necessarily. Nobody was getting hurt. It was like general statements. So as I try to put her at ease and set up for the next weekend to go see her, and I'm saying, well, nobody's been hurt. All of a sudden, she's got a bruise. And if I brought up another point that hadn't happened, all of a sudden it happened as I was facing, trying to calm her. All of a sudden these things were going on. Well, that's the red flag right there. For example, when they tell your story, we like to ask them right away, do they watch paranormal shows? And she was one of those that watched every show out there. And what I have found is a lot of the clients or potential clients who watch all of the shows and take them all as gospel truth,
Right.
that is, they hear a noise in the house and immediately it's got to be paranormal.
Right.
The first thing that comes to mind is paranormal. And I would say the majority of the calls I get really are not paranormal. And we're able to sort it out over the phone.
Exactly.
I also, after we talk to them, have them send an email to me with everything, including their name and their address and their phone number, so that we have a record of it. That's just one of the requirements that we have, and that way I can share it with the rest of the team too.
Yeah, a lot of time. That's exactly right. A lot of times I can resolve the issue over the phone, and that saves us a trip, because it's not about. It's. I lost my train of thought. But anyways, yes, you're right. I do solve a lot of the calls over the phone. I mean, you do, and that's just the way it goes. A majority of our investigations have nothing to do with ghosts or hauntings or spirits. I mean, it's very seldom that we ever get one of those actual calls. Most of it we can debunk on the site. And I'm sure that goes for you too. I mean, you guys go in and they tell you we hear a sound on this part of the house or underneath the house or and at a certain time. Then you can pretty much investigate that and debunk it. So what? Yeah. So okay. Now, of all of the cases that you have done, and I'm sure you've done a lot, have you actually come across cases where you say, okay, I think we have the real deal here?
Yes. Yes. In fact, we have one case that went on for a couple of years. I turned it over to another group because they were the home was about 2.5 hours from me, and they were within about 30 minutes, and it involved he was 10 years old at the time, and a possible attachment. And so we communicated back and forth, the family and I, the team and I mean, we met, we discussed this thing for almost 2 years, and there was something going on with the boy, and the boy ended up with some psychological problems, but the frustration for us, because there I don't know if there still is, but there was something going on, is that he was 10 to 12 years old, and the family was so dysfunctional. The parents ended up getting a divorce during that 2-year period. The boy was with his grandparents because mom was afraid of stuff, and it was just so dysfunctional that we could not help them. We couldn't help the child because nobody would follow through. It's like, we want you to come here this week, then we don't want you, now we want you, or here are our suggestions, this is what you need to do. And they just couldn't follow through with everything. So to our frustration, it's one that there is something that we couldn't help with.
Right. Do you have anybody on your team that have psychic abilities at all?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Now, have you had any cases where she was able to use that?
Well, yeah,
ability?
actually, we have Maria Elena Santos on our team. She's down in Houston, and she's a psychic, medium. We also have Dr. Rita Louise on our team, and she's up in Marshall now. And sometimes after I talk to somebody, I'm pretty sure where things are, or if there is or isn't something going on, and I will holler it a lot of times to Maria and ask Maria, will you talk to this person yourself before we make a decision? This is what I think, and we may or may not go into the whole detail, but she will talk to them too, and so far, everything has been right, but sometimes when there's been maybe some minor things going on, she's able to talk to them and determine what's going on pretty much and give them suggestions of what to do. And they have followed through, and it works.
Wow.
And we're all about aftercare, following up, not just going in, doing investigations, and then going away. We like to go and help solve the problem, whatever the problem may be.
Right. Have you ever had a case where you already did the radio interview, and now your team is at the actual house or wherever it may be, and you catch them doing something that right away tells you, oh man, this is all a put on, a hoax. Like, have they ever caught them trying to pull a hoax on you guys?
No, we haven't found that yet, but that is something that we look for. We had one that, it wasn't quite that way, but it was fairly close. I talked to a lady from an East Texas town. She was a paramedic. She was also on a paranormal team. She's telling me about all these things going on, or she and her husband having trouble, and like dark entities and just bad stuff in the house. And so she sounded very credible over the phone, and being in the position she was in, we did what we don't do very often, and that's just go to the house to do the interview and the investigation. Normally we do the interview first, probably 99% of the time. We call her on the way. She doesn't answer the phone. We get to the house, or there's like no vehicle there. Nobody answers the door. She's still not answering. So we're we're not really happy. And about that time, her husband comes out of the back door of the house, and she's not even staying there. He didn't know we were coming. He calls her from another phone, and she comes over. It turns out that, she's been living with her father. They're actually separated. And there wasn't any big deal going on like she said. However, the landlord lived next door. The landlord used to live in that house. It was a pre-Civil War house for about half of it. And the landlord and her husband had domestic violence going on. And he somehow fell out the back door down the steps and died. And she built a house next door with the money and then rents the house out. So she was kind of pulling a fast one in the fact that, she didn't even tell them we were coming.
Wow.
And, that just wasn't very,
cool.
We just don't do those kind of deals.
No.
But we ended up telling them, there is some stuff going on, but those two are doing it. If they're fighting, they're just kind of feeding any negative energy. And our suggestion to them was go get marriage counseling if they want to stay together. But, we're always on the watch because you have so many people that want to have that haunted bed and breakfast or haunted historical museum or haunted whatever, or they want to be on My Ghost Story or, any number of the shows. And that may be the purpose that they call you to come and investigate. And there's a couple places where we've been that they're kind of hoping we'll find something, and because they did kind of have that interest, but we would find nothing there. Right. And we're very particular about, what we say or do.
Right.
And we're always kind of on the lookout. And probably about half the team is either current or former law enforcement.
Wow.
So we kind of go, so we go in looking at the whole thing a lot differently than most people would go look. I know I've talked to people who talk to someone on the phone, and whatever they say happened, they believe with all their heart that's what's happening, and so they go to the investigation to prove that it's happening. And we go unbiased. That's probably the most important thing, is you go in unbiased and just listen to everything and then go for there. And a lot of times we just debunk stuff.
Sure.
You know, we have a city that we've done some investigations for. And, you know, the city is fine with its public knowledge, with everybody knowing, and if we were to find some things, you know, we wouldn't upset them at all. To be able to say, we said declared, but, we found some evidence or something.
Right.
In fact, one of the team members and I were just at an event in that town because I'm working on another book, and the town will be in the book. And they're going around doing historical things at different, old houses and buildings. And Nancy and I were in the library, or in the community center, which used to be in the train depot. And there's a high school kid that's getting the history of the depot, like he was, somebody that worked in the depot. And lo and behold, what does he do? He's telling everybody all this story about this paranormal team that was there, and they found this and they found that, and And they were talking about us. I looked at Nancy and go, we didn't find any of that stuff. That's a bunch of baloney.
You know, a lot of times, you know, they'll go ahead. You know, they want an investigation team. Like, for example, if it's a bed and breakfast, yeah, a hotel, or you know, there's some people, especially owners, that would love for you to come in and say that, okay, this place is haunted, because they can easily promote it that way.
Yeah, even cities.
Exactly.
You know, so
Even cities.
now, since you guys are in law enforcement, you know, obviously you have probably a permit to carry, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And even those that aren't anymore, they've got a concealed handgun license, yeah.
Okay.
But, it's Texas.
Now, do you exactly? Everybody has one. Now, do you guys carry while you guys investigate?
Generally, no.
Okay.
And, you know, I mean, there may be something in our vehicle, but most places there's no reason to carry it in the house or in the hotel. Most times.
Yeah, well, I mean, you never know, man. You know what I'm saying? Is like they can easily. Okay, well then, on your website.
Yeah.
Now, do you tell them that you guys used to be and are in law enforcement?
Yeah, I do not have all our members listed on our website because I just haven't got around to it.
Mm-hmm.
But in there it says that everybody is, you know whether they're current or former law enforcement. I may not say what agency they're with.
Okay.
Because while I was doing investigations back as far back as '99, I've had things of interest, you know, way earlier than that. I really didn't, you know, become official with the group until I retired in '07. And it might not be as big a deal now. And everybody at the department knew, you know, they knew about it. And it was not a big deal. But, you know, you could have some defense attorney try to, you know, really attack your credibility.
Right.
And you know, with things. So we just kind of kept it
Hush.
I wouldn't say we necessarily kept it hush-hush,
Right.
but we never just, you know,
Right.
put it out there.
Well, and that's totally understandable, because we work with a forensic personnel out of one of the departments here close by, and he's still involved and he still works for him, but he also does ghost investigations on the side. So he has to pretty much keep it quiet, because you know it's just one of those things. So we understand. So, well, that's totally understandable. Well, that's cool. All right. We have a couple of books that we are going to be giving away on the air after we speak to you today. And I'm going to matter of fact, I'm going to give out the phone number right now, but nobody call. All right? Because I know we're going to get bombarded. So I'm giving the number right now, but do not call. Area code 559-287-8367. One more time, area code 559-287-8367. The last four numbers represent the letters UFOS. So everybody write that down, and I'm going to say it again in a couple of minutes, and then we're going to, as soon as we finish talking with Martha, then we'll go ahead and give away the book. So now, when I was reading your book, you know, it's pretty much when you're interviewing somebody face to face, you use pretty much the same. You know, like for example, if the person starts sweating, or if the person's not making eye contact with you, then you know something is up, right? I mean, that's
Right.
you know, what other hints when you're talking to a person face to face, like I just said, for one thing, sweating, and the other one not looking straight at you but looking at the ground. What other hints or raise up a red flag to tell you that something is not right?
And those are just a couple of the indicators, and just one by itself doesn't necessarily mean anything. Plus, you have to throw possibly culture in there. Be aware of what culture they are, because some people don't make eye contact.
Oh, okay.
But sweating, they could just be nervous, they could be embarrassed. But when you get all of that together, and you know, it's not really necessarily that a good idea to go by, they look to the right, or they look to the left. because which way they're going to look when they're fabricating depends on if are they left-handed or are they right-handed. And if you don't know which way they are, you could think that they're, not being truthful when they actually are being truthful. Are they on drugs? They're moving around. Or do they have mental problems? You have to kind of say if they're on meth or something like that. If it's somebody that you have to keep pulling them back to the conversation because they keep going off just, crazy places,
Right.
and not making any sense, you have to pull them back. So what I like to do is I like to have them tell their story, and a lot of times there'll be two of us there for the interview. One's doing the interview, and the other one can take notes, and there's also an audio and a video, recording going on. And that way, if you're interacting with them, you can just watch all their whole demeanor, body language, and everything. But let them tell the story, and don't interrupt them until they're through with the story. And then you go back and you can start picking apart. And even if you have information that they have emailed me, I'll bring that with me too. And it's almost like a written statement. And you can go back, like sentence by sentence almost, getting more detail. And you may ask them the same thing 2 or 3 different times, but in different ways. And if you're getting different answers each time, or maybe while you're there, maybe not in that one time, but maybe another, a little while later or somebody else, you're asking them the same thing, but they can't keep the story straight, or they tell you something different than what they emailed you.
Right.
Which is, you get that, and, those are all different indicators that they may not be truthful with you.
Right.
And it also may be not that they're not being truthful, but they may not be telling you everything.
Right.
And it's like so important to build that trust and the rapport up with them, because there may be something really important that they're holding back, but it's very, it's very important to making, the decision on whether you're going to investigate or if there's anything going on.
Right. Yeah. If the story changes, then that more than once, then there's something going on. So.
Right. Well, here's a good one. We went to a house that had 7 kids. 7 kids. They were all like from 12 on down. and 2 of us interviewed the kids. I interviewed the kids because one of my specialties with law enforcement was crimes against children, and then the civil stuff for the last 7 years was all children. So I have a lot of years with them, and then the person that helped me was also former law enforcement. And then I had another, somebody else interviewing the parents. So Sam and I interviewed the kids. As we're interviewing the kids, the story just gets more outrageous, and it's almost to the point of being ridiculous. You got, little kids, 7-year-olds, saying that they're like pulled off the bed, by the feet. Another one saying something something about killing them, stabbing them, and it just keeps getting worse and worse with the kids. Well, it turns out these kids, youngest 2, is 5 and 6 and 8 and 9, and most of them were, I think there was one that was 12, 11, and then there was a 10, and everybody else was under that age. Their parents had allowed them to watch all of the paranormal movies, all of the scary movies. They watched all the Paranormal Activity movies. You name it, they have watched, all these children have watched all of those movies. So everything they're saying, they have seen in those movies.
Now, have you ever went on one that scared you?
Oh, scared me?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet. We haven't went
Not
on one yet
yet.
either.
Yeah, same goes for us. We haven't been on.
Now, I have been on one that's been fairly active up here in Northeast Texas at a hospital that had only been closed down since 2005. The condition you would expect it had been closed for a long time, but it's pretty active, and upstairs there's a couple of possible entities who are not that friendly, and And, well, I have one other place where I've been where you just hit an area that you just feel like something does not want you there. That, you know, the hair stand up and it's just, you know, don't go there.
Right.
And I have felt that in there.
Wow.
And there's another place over in Arlington, Texas. It used to be a mall. It used to be the Six Flags Mall. It's called by Six Flags. And they have a, I don't know if they still have it, but they used to have a Halloween place called the Boneyard. And people could go in there, like groups to go in and actually have access to almost the whole mall. The whole mall was shut down. And go through all the different stores and, you know, all the back hallways into offices and everything. And when I was there with Tracy Ray and Shelley Brannigan Olive. There were some other people, but the three of us were teamed up. Let's see, Tracy Ray Ramsey now. And Tracy and I hit this area that's just like that. It's in a T intersection in the hall, back in the back behind the stores where offices are. And, you know, we kind of like look at each other, and there was an office to the left, and you could go in before that area and come out on the other side of it. And it's like, it was just almost overwhelming, the sense of dread right there. So we go in there, and we're over on the other side of it as we walk through we just walked through the office. And Tracy and I were standing there. Shelley did not hear this, but Tracy and I heard about, I don't know, at least 3 or 4 times, if not more. We hear this, "Mama, Mama," coming from the end of that hall. We can't see where it's pitch dark. It keyed into where we were. Tracy and I are looking at each other like,
what?
Yeah. And we're going, now, is that real or
a doll?
Because of the place that we're in, and they have all that stuff fixed up, you know, to scare people, you know, go through the haunted house and everything.
Oh.
Do they have anything up here? And I'm not saying they do,
Right.
but still, that's something going through your head. You know, there were some other things that happened while we were there too.
So you couldn't debunk that then? You just basically heard
No.
it and didn't know where it came
Yeah.
from. Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
We could not.
That's cool. That is cool. That would definitely make my hair stand up. Oh man, that's very cool. So, all right. Now you said you were writing another book.
Yes, I am.
What's that about?
This one is called Historical and Haunted Highway 80. And Highway 80 goes from the East Coast to the West Coast, just like Route 66 did.
Okay.
And we're doing 2. Nancy Davis and I are doing 2 Texas books. We're just about through with the research for the East Texas for the first book. Second book will be in West Texas, and then it'll be from New Mexico to California, and then Louisiana to, you know, the East Coast. So we're looking at doing 4 books, but we're still looking for stories. We're looking for history. We're looking for haunted. We're looking for legends, myths, creatures, UFOs, murders, you know, anything like that. We're looking for this kind of stuff. So as long as it's along Highway 80, you know, we're interested in it.
Okay.
So we're still trying to find some more stories to
Sure.
go with that.
Well, we are being listened to all over, and definitely on the Art Bell website as well. So if anybody has a story on Highway 80, you said, right?
Right.
Is there a number? Is there an email or a number that they can call you at?
Yes, they can. We have an email that's ushighway80@gmail.com.
Okay.
And they can do that, or they can call 903-340-7405.
Okay. So give the email one more time.
US Highway 80.
ushighway80@gmail.com, and the phone number one more time.
903-340-7405.
Awesome. Okay.
903.
Okay, we're actually
Do
going
it
to put
again,
that.
and I'm going to put it up on the chat.
So what's the number? One more time, because Alan, my co-host, is going to put it down in our chat.
Yeah.
903
Okay.
340-7405.
Okay. Your middle name, Hazzard, is that your real middle name?
That's my maiden name.
That's what I
Oh,
thought,
that's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Way before the Duke.
That's an awesome. When I said Martha Hazzard, I'm thinking, come on, you're pulling my leg. That's cool. That is cool. So, all right, Martha, I really appreciate you coming on and talking about your book. Now, everybody can get your book where? Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and where else?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble. They just put it in, do a search and put in Paranormal Profiling. They'll find there's some other boutiques and specialty, type bookstores that have it, but definitely Barnes & Noble and Amazon, or they can contact me. They can, on Facebook, they can contact me through the facebook.com/paranormal profiling.
Okay.
And if they want to get a signed copy, they can contact me and to get a signed copy of it.
Right on. Okay, everybody. So if you want the book, several places where you can get it. If you want it autographed, contact her on the Facebook page at Paranormal Profiling. Martha, thank you very much for showing up. And when you finally get those books done, you give me a call and we'll get you on, okay?
I will. Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you, Martha.
Okay.
Thank you, Martha.
Okay.
You take care.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, no problem. Take
Okay.
care. See ya.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
All right.
All right.
That was pretty good.
All right. The 15th caller right now at 559-287-8367. 559-287-8367. And we're taking the 15th caller. Emerald is going to answer. We're going to get your address. We're going to send you one of these books. And at the end of the show, we're going to give another book away.
Say that number again. 559
287
287
8367.
And there are 2 books.
There are 2 books, so
Okay.
we're going to give away a book right now, and later on at the end, we're going to give another book away. So go ahead, start calling people. Emerald will start at the phone, and so start calling in. Okay, let's continue on with a lot of the other stuff. We have so much to talk about. It's incredible. All right. Okay.
Like that picture.
Yeah, let's do. Want to talk
man.
about that? Okay.
That was a good picture.
You
too.
know, when
looks real.
people are up in the mountains, you need to look when you're driving, especially down a single lane dirt road in the middle of frickin' nowhere at 8,000 elevation. You need to look out your window and look around you when you're driving, and drive slow, not fast. All right. We do this when we go up Bigfooting all the time, so it's in my blood. When I'm on a camping trip and I have my wife next to me and my kid in the back seat, I'm still going to do the same thing wherever I may be, if it's in the forest someplace. All right. Now, this past Wednesday and Thursday, we were up about 8,000 feet near Buck Rock, Big Meadow Road, around that area, and we were sightseeing. And we went down this long stretch of dirt road and came back, and I was looking up this mountain, and I stopped. And I backed up, and my son and my wife goes, "What's the matter?" I'm going, "Look, do you see that?" And they look down and look through my window, and he says, "Yes, I see that." I mean, what is it? And they're looking at it, and they start laughing. I'm going, "It's a Bigfoot." And I'm going, "No, what are the odds that that's a Bigfoot?" So what I'm going to do is I took out my cell phone, and I took snapshots, one far away and one close up. And because I was there and I was looking right at it, it was about 100. It was far away. It wasn't close, guys. It was pretty far away. But I made out the detail of the top part, and it looked like, to me, it looked like Thing from the Addams Family. Oh, you know how the hair falls down?
Oh yeah, it.
It
It.
Thing. Sorry.
I was like, you saw a hand?
You're right. You're right. It looked like black hair, just like that. That's what it looked like to me, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going, "Is that a burnt stump?" And then I'm going, and I'm looking around, I'm going, well, there's a couple of things, but that looks like the shape of an upper body. So I took snapshots with my iPhone, and I posted it on Facebook the day after or the day of, I don't remember, and I said, okay, there are so many pictures of people claiming that they took a photograph of a Bigfoot, and you can plainly see that it isn't, but yet they put it on Facebook, it goes viral, and now the media picks it up, and then NBC, ABC, and CBS, and Fox, and CNN are covering it, and I'm saying, really, guys? That is the most ridiculous photograph that I have ever seen, and just because a person said, oh, it looks like a Bigfoot, people run with it. So after I took this photograph, I didn't say I thought it was a Bigfoot. I just posted it on Facebook, and I said, this is what we got. What do you think it is? And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show it to you on my on live stream.
You know that the color of it is exactly the color of the one I saw that was a Bigfoot that I watched walk around.
Really?
He was that black. So, I mean, you know, it really could have been standing there frozen and been a Bigfoot. But, I mean, it's hard to tell. Like you said, you know,
It's
you would have had to drive back later, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like 30 or 40 minutes later and then see if it was still
and,
there.
and that's just it. You know, this was about a football field away.
Yeah, it's far.
Okay, it was far away. It seems close here, but it wasn't. It was very far away. And we were on a single road, all right? And
your wife says she was freaking because it was a one
yeah, it was one
lane road
Well,
with the big old fifth wheel.
well, no, we had the truck.
You're
The fifth wheel was parked at the campsite, and we were sightseeing. And, you know, literally off to her right was freaking... Okay.
All right, stop calling me. We have a winner.
Okay, we have a winner, people. Who won? Who won?
First name was Debbie.
Debbie. Last name.
I didn't ask if she wanted her last name.
Oh,
on here.
okay. Debbie.
Debbie
Where's she at?
wins.
Where's she at?
Here, Fresno.
Oh, Fresno. Right. Debbie from Fresno has just won herself a book. We'll get that to her ASAP. All right. Now, we're looking at this photograph. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in on it right now. And you guys can see it, right? There it is. I mean, a person on Facebook, when I posted it, said it's a raven. It's a bird. No. This thing was definitely very large. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this.
It's a pregnant one.
I mean, at first I thought, okay, is it holding something? Is there a baby there? Is it a burnt stump? I don't know. But like I said, it looked way different when I was looking at it through my eyes. It looked like it had hair, really long hair. All right. I don't know. Is it a burnt stump? Yeah, it could be. You know, a lot of people say that's a burnt stump, and a lot of people say, wow, that's pretty cool. I don't know. But, you know, there it is. It got, I mean, we were up. I mean, a lot of people were commenting on this. I don't know.
Yeah, they were.
And so, you know, I obviously didn't go back because, again, I couldn't leave the truck there and then walk up that hill because there was no place to pull my truck over. Literally, there was no place. So I couldn't do it. And, you know, a lot of people were saying, man, well, you know, could you taken a pop shot at it with a gun or something? I'm like, well, I didn't have my gun with me. Well, I had the pistol, but there's no way I was going to shoot that.
Right.
Now, a retired police officer did tell me that, hey, you should have a paintball gun.
Yeah, I saw that
Now-
one, you know, and shoot at it to see if
Yeah,
it moves, right?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, it might like run straight at you and take that paintball gun
well,
away
then
from you.
that's why I'm 100 yards away. I could have got out of there pretty fast.
Yeah.
So now, and then people were going, Jeff, did you know there were a
There's
couple of
some
more Bigfoots in this photograph? And I'm all, what you talking about, Willis?
See, I thought I saw one, and it's in that pine tree right there. You
Way up
see
here?
it? Where you see that your hand is almost right on it. See
Right
how
there?
that little looks like shoulders and a head.
Oh, right there?
Yeah.
Well, somebody said right here. I'm going to, I think I could.
Yeah, you could. Just move those little green brackets.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in the brackets.
I don't know why would a Bigfoot be that little though? You know what I mean?
Well, he's looking behind the bush of the tree. He's, oops.
I mean, he would have been laying down or something.
Okay. Oh, I see. I can't.
You have to stretch the
No, I
green
can't.
bracket
But
over.
it won't. But okay. Do you guys see that? Oops. That thing that's looking behind the tree. Somebody,
I see.
this thing here. Somebody said that's a Bigfoot. And I'm all, You know,
It's a white one.
It's you know, we could play Waldo all day.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not going to say yes or no. The reason why I took this photograph was because of this thing up here.
See, I
That's
play
it.
Waldo all day long, all the time on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know, and then somebody else took
See, there you
that, and then what? Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
go.
I don't know. I mean, somebody said it was a face.
It doesn't look like Waldo, though.
No, it doesn't look like Waldo. You know, and here's that picture again. Somebody actually zoomed in on it for me and cleaned it up a little bit. Could it be a burn stump? Sure. But I took the photograph because I wanted to play the same game as everybody else out there. Look at what I got. But yet I didn't say it was a Bigfoot. All right. Now, if I would have said it was a Bigfoot, man, I probably would have got laughed at. And who knows? It could have gone wild and viral. So I don't know. So there you go. All right.
Well, you know, like, if you take the picture like far away and big, it has more pixels. Then you can zoom in like we're doing, and it isn't so pixelated. And actually, you could tell it probably isn't a Bigfoot.
Right.
You
So
know,
I don't know.
it's a
Again,
Bigfoot
there
with
it
a
is.
backpack.
Right. Yeah. So you know, again, this is no campsite in the area. This was 8,000 feet in the middle of nowhere. That was not a person. I can tell you that right now, trying to fake me out. So I thought it was cool, and I.
New York, like a streaming packet.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't go well because the server is in New York. That's why when you do a speed test on the internet, it'll find the nearest server closest one, and then it runs a speed test and it's really high, and you're like, oh wow, check it out, you know, I got 50 whatever. But try going to New York and running the same speed test on the server over there, and you'll find out you hardly have any packets by the time it gets to New York.
Okay.
And you can do that on any computer,
Right.
cell phone.
But it's been working, and
Yeah,
that's
it
been,
has,
But
yeah.
because you've been turning off those things, then we just didn't have enough time this time. So I got a feeling that's what it is.
My
so.
bad. You know.
So, all right. The next thing I want to talk about again is, and I had a long conversation on the Facebook on somebody else's. Actually, it's a friend of ours from Sanger. He happens to be a well-known. He actually does columns for CNN and Fox News. His name is Ruben Navarrete, to be exact. And and we were talking about the illegal aliens, refugees, however way you want to describe them, coming over the borders and by the thousands. And if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I said, you know, this is a great opportunity for it's close to 65,000 now and more coming every day. Is where are they going to house all these? All right, all these people. Well, they're starting to activate FEMA camps. Simple as that. It is the truth now.
Serious?
All right,
Yes.
they are activating FEMA camps.
No, serious.
No, serious. They are
Serious?
serious. They are activating the FEMA camps now. They're opening them up.
Well, I saw that. Was it you that posted that video? I think Eddie and you posted this, like a movie clip.
That was just a movie clip from I don't know where. I thought it was just really interesting. I
It
don't
was
know
like,
how
man,
long.
I'm like, that scared the
Yeah.
you know what out of
Okay,
me.
well, the FEMA has now, with the Department of Defense and FEMA have now taken over, and now they are opening up FEMA camps. Legit. They are locating abandoned hangars, stuff, locations like that to basically house these people. And you know what they're calling them? FEMA camps. That's what they're
Really?
calling them. Yes, they're calling them FEMA camps. Here's another photograph.
That's what we thought happened to you today. Thought
So-
you got thrown in a FEMA camp.
No, I was actually arguing with my landlord about an air conditioner. It's 105, and we don't have an air conditioner for a week, and looks like we're not going to have one. And I was pretty mad.
Okay. Matter of fact, here is part of the FEMA camp situation going on right now. Okay, the influx of illegal aliens used as excuse to furnish and activate hundreds of new FEMA camps nationwide. I called it 2 shows ago. You can go back, and I said there's probably 2 things that are going to happen. Actually, 3 things that are going to happen because of these flux of illegals coming over and I mean a lot of them. Okay, is that one? that's going to give them a reason to open up these FEMA camps. Bam! It just happened. All right. 2, they're probably going to be bringing over all kinds of viruses and sicknesses. Bam! That's exactly what's happening right now. All kinds. All kinds of difference. All right. 3rd is, and I hope I'm wrong, I really hope I'm wrong, but this is a perfect opportunity for a terrorist to bring over a WMD. And this is, and it doesn't take very much. It could be something in a backpack, in a tote box, in a bag, all right? It doesn't have to be, people, when you say a nuclear weapon, people think a giant missile, rocket. No, guys.
A dirty bomb.
A nuclear weapon could fit in a backpack nowadays.
Now, you want to know what's funny? Now, you knew all about the FEMA camp, but only I read an article like yesterday. They found an Arab blanket on the border.
I saw that.
They found it, so that's like they are coming across the border. They found an Arab blanket.
Yes, you're right. I read that. So that tells you right there, it's not only Mexicans that are coming over, and I could have told you that a long time ago. All right. If a terrorist is going to cross over, they're going to come down through Central America, down through Mexico, and right over our borders. You guys have to understand, there are, I don't know how many miles, hundreds of miles, 1,000 miles, let's say, of the border. All right. We probably have guys in trucks, one truck for every 50 miles or so. All right. If we're lucky.
And there's no fence.
Really. There's no fence. No. It's just a little stupid dried up canal in a river. All right. It's so easy for them to come over. So when you have thousands of these kids and parents running all at the same time, all of the Border Patrol agents are going to pretty much be at that location trying to solve the problem. And now there's so much other locations that, it's so easy to cross.
So they could set up a diversion by sending like 20,000 kids over right here.
That's exactly
and
what
all the Border Patrol's right there, and then 40 or 50 or 120 miles away, they're bringing the bomb across.
That's exactly what I believed from the very start that this was. It was a diversion to bring over that type of WMD. And I believe it's already here now.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it's here now, and it got crossed through all this commotion.
I read that the NSA already said they think there's 3.
Okay. Now,
already.
Let's talk about the FEMA camps. In each FEMA camp, there's probably going to be 1,000 people. Imagine, and in these thousands of people, let's say 1,000 people, all right? They don't know who's in all. I mean, they're probably crowded like sardines on cots and on floors, on cardboard with blankets, and they're just literally thrown in there. What makes you think that the possibility of somebody getting picked up by our government just off the street and thrown in one of those FEMA camps, do you think they would ever find you? Let's say if your family all of a sudden found out you were missing and they could not find you. This would be the perfect opportunity for a government to pick you up without anybody realizing it and throwing you in one of these places. And that's it. You're gone. I mean, obviously they can kill you and put you 6 feet under, but if there's a lot of us that they want to get rid of right now, this is the perfect opportunity for them to do it. Is throw you in with all these kids and all these people, and that's it. You are not going to get out. All right? That's what scares me.
To figure out what to do.
That's what scares me, okay? Because that's what these FEMA camps are now going to be for, is to pick people up and throw you in there, and that's it. I mean, they're going to have guards placed all around with machine guns, and if why do you think the military is not allowing congressmen or anybody like that to enter with cell phones or telephones or any type of camera equipment, sound equipment? Don't you think that was kind of unusual for me when I heard that? And when I was reading about that, that is actually happening. You know, they're not even allowing congressmen to even enter. And if they do allow you to enter, which I remember them saying so, they confiscated every single person's cell phone and any type of recording equipment. They could not bring it inside. So why not? Why are they not allowing us to do that? Well, obviously they don't want you to record whatever's inside. If it was a white person or a black person or a person of Indian or that type, you know what I'm saying? Then they're not going to allow you to videotape it, because I have a feeling those type of people are in there as well. All right?
Yeah, like Arabs.
Arabs,
that
you know,
come over here and go to school, and then they, like the one that, did you see the article where the kid took his, and he's American, right? Born in America, Egyptian. He took his car to get an oil change. They raise it up on the rack, and what do they find? A big old giant tracking thing underneath. You know? Yeah. And then they came and actually went to his house and said, "Hey, that's ours. You give it back."
And so I guess what he did with it first, though, he took a video of it with his cell phone and put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Good for him.
That was
Oops,
funny.
sorry. So FEMA camps, they are here and opened up for business, you guys. FEMA camps, when we were talking about these things a while back, people were laughing at us, saying, no freaking way, you guys are so into conspiracy theories, bull crap, that will never happen. They had to have a reason to open them up. Here's your reason. It just happened. Okay? All right. Now we have one here in the north in Corcoran. I don't know if I think I posted it on Facebook, my wall. We have a prison that is abandoned. Guess what? That is going to be our FEMA camp right there. Because I was trying to find one, and as soon as I read it in the Fresno Bee or one of the news agencies carried it, I said, holy smokes, there it is, right there, and abandoned. And they're trying to figure out what to do. They're thinking about, you know, leasing it out to San Diego or Southern California for them to bring in their overflow of prisoners down to here. No, they're going to use it for a FEMA camp. I mean, it's a perfect place in the middle of nowhere, and it's abandoned, and
it doesn't even make sense, because the government said, oh, because our prisons are overfilling and they're letting the prisoners go. Right.
Yeah. I mean,
and
way
then here
before
you
their
have
time.
this big old prison out in the middle of nowhere, and these people, you know, they spent, I think he said like $150,000 to, you know, get the state to let him put prisoners, and they denied it and said, no, we'll just go ahead and let these guys out.
Yeah.
You know? Keep the pot smoker, but we'll let the martyr and the car thieves and everybody go.
Right.
No druggie gets out.
All right. So be careful, you guys. I hope you guys don't go missing. Well, if we don't show up next Sunday or one of these Sundays, you guys know where we're at. So, all right. There was a picture put on Facebook, and it went viral. And shame on Steven Spielberg. Shame on him. All right. How dare he shoot? I pronounce it Triceratops, and actually sit by and have a picture taken with it. That's just absolutely rude. PETA should be up in arms about this. And you know what? People were taking this seriously. Well, at this point in time, we don't know. But if you take a look at the picture that I have posted on live stream right now, one of the comments said, oh, that's Steven Spielberg, director of Jurassic Park. Yeah, well, the next one said, I don't care who he is, he should have not shot that animal. Yeah, okay. Could we take that as being serious? Nowadays, you never know.
With DNA testing, you never know, really.
Okay.
It could have been his pet. Got out of hand.
I was saying that this was taken off his private island near Bermuda Triangle, and this is what he actually has. And one weekend he went target shooting, and this is what he brought down.
Movie prop.
And I'm bullshitting, and you know that I'm totally fabricating that. Okay, well, people actually thought, and you know, I don't know if what I am reading is people thought this was the truth or not, but it went viral. The media picked up on it, and now it made headlines all over the place. So I wanted to show you how ridiculous this is and how funny this was as well. So there you go. Have a laugh. If you're ticked off at Steven Spielberg and not going to go see any more of his movies, then get a life, all right?
Get an education.
And education, yeah. That was funny. So, okay, another one that I want to talk about is, has anybody seen a photograph on Facebook? Actually, what's a video? No, it's a photograph of Yellowstone.
Oh, yeah. I was just reading about that.
Things are happening on certain roads down there. And you guys are probably going, what are you talking about, Jeff? Well, this is what I'm going to show you right now. There is some roads that are melting. The asphalt is melting on top. And it's because of what's happening underground, you guys. It's getting awfully warm.
And animals left the area.
I remember. Do you remember those videos on Facebook? And this was about 4 or 5 months ago. It was a while back.
The buffalo were all running away
on the highways, and they were running. Well, people said that's what they do. They run in herds and all that kind of stuff, and people were dismissing it. And then all of a sudden now you have this photograph that shows up, and it is legit, because I remember now reading that there was a family out in that location did see this and actually commented that yes, this is true. As a matter of fact, a lot of the lakes and ponds in that area are now steaming very heavily because the water is getting extremely hot in a lot of different locations. As you guys also know, the earthquakes are picking up. As of yesterday, Oklahoma has become the #1 state in the United States for earthquakes. They have overtaken California. California is now #2. Did you guys know that? So Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken, I think Alan had relatives in Oklahoma and said that they left California because of the earthquakes.
Yep. They said they'd rather live in the tornadoes than they're more scared of earthquakes than tornadoes.
Okay.
And I told them I'll never move to Oklahoma because I'm more scared of
tornadoes. Yeah, absolutely. So
now you go over there, and now you have
the best of both worlds
and tornadoes.
So you got the best of both worlds. You guys are shaking, and you guys are hailing. I mean, you guys got everything now.
Yeah.
So now, why Oklahoma? What's going on? Well, they say possibly the fracking that's going on, the drilling. And that's what's causing the tremors. But the tremors have been pretty good. 4.3 hit yesterday, and that's where they're at right now in Oklahoma, right around 4.6, 4.5,
That's
3.
a good shake.
That's some good shaking.
Yeah,
that's absolutely some good shaking going on.
You will feel that.
Absolutely.
That's coming from a Californian.
100 miles away, you would feel that.
That's rode a couple of them 4.5s out.
So you guys are shaking big time in Oklahoma. So what am I supposed to say about that? Hold on. Hold on, because I got a feeling it's going to continue.
Yeah.
Now, Alan, you know what? We only have 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
And I wanted to talk about the video you placed on Cell. But we're not going to have enough time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to have time.
Next week.
Yeah, next week.
That's a good one, too. We should take some time on that one.
Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and break it right now.
I was waiting for this one.
Okay. Missing 411. We got David Paulides on September the 7th.
Mark your calendars.
All right. Mark your calendars. We got David Paulides, Missing 411, the new book that he just came out with, called, and it's in black, so that's why I can't read it that good. It's The Devils and the Devil. Well, guess what? I got 2 books to give away on the day that he comes on. All right, so he sent us a couple of books. So
You still got 1 book to give away tonight.
Oh, and let's go ahead and do that
Oh, yeah,
right
we only
now.
have
10th caller.
10th caller for Paranormal Profiling, Martha Hazzard Decker. Call right now, 559-287-8367.
And you'll get to talk to me.
And you get to talk to Emerald.
Ooh.
And
No.
I was going to say, don't talk dirty. So actually, she might like it.
No.
Caller 10 at 559. I don't care where you're at. If you're on a little island near Easter Island or near the Bermuda Triangle, if you are, I don't care where you're at.
Yeah, in fact, that's the devil's in the details.
Yes.
Right?
Call, and if you win a book, I will send it to you no matter where you're at. All right? 559-287-8367. The last 4 numbers representing the letters UFOS. Yes, I chose it that way because that is my paranormal hotline. You can call me whenever you have something you want to talk about, if you have a sighting, if you want to let me know some top secret information, that is the number you call me on. All right? Don't call me right now. Call me later on this afternoon or evening. If you want to talk about something that you know that you want to pass some killer information, then call me at that number. That number is our 24-hour paranormal hotline. Again, it's 559-287-8367. The last 4 digits, or actually the last 4 numbers represent UFOS. I have had that number going on 10 years now. It is I carry around 2 iPhones, one personal, and that one is my 24-hour paranormal hotline. I have everybody calling me on that line, guys. I have, and I don't want to say what law enforcement, but let's just say I have a couple of law enforcements who call me and let me know when unidentified flying objects are over our skies at 2 o'clock in the morning. I even had a congressman call me at that number to say, I just saw a triangle, black triangle, hover, go right over my house, and he lived in the foothills somewhere north of Fresno. And it was really cool because that's the type of people who watch us, who listen to us. They trust us. They trust what we do. And I appreciate that, and it's because of that it just gives us the more energy to keep doing what we're doing.
We'll roll on stuff.
Oh my God!
Like
yeah.
if you give us a call and it seems legit, we will roll out there. Just like the guy that saw the Bigfoot, we're rolling.
Oh yeah, we're rolling next Saturday. We are
going,
rolling. You better believe it. We're rolling with all kinds of equipment. So. On September the 7th, I believe, that's when I got him booked. I'm pretty sure it's September 7th. And the reason why, because he is booked solid, and I wanted to get his book and read it before we had him on the air. So, Missing 411, the devil is in the devil. Is that right?
Devil in the details.
Devil's in the...
Details.
Oh, I'm sorry. Detail. Thank you.
Yeah.
The devil's in the... It's black. Why did you put it in black? Red and black. You can't even
You're
see
blind.
it. No, look.
Oh yeah, you can't see it.
You can't see
Just
it.
Missing 411.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly. So that's why I have to go, wow.
But,
So...
you know, that's interesting. We talked about that a little bit on a show, about the devil in the details, where everything's named
Something-
the devil, where
Did we?
these people are
Did we?
missing. Yeah, we did. We were talking about it. There was an article in like Devil's Canyon, Diablo. You know what I mean?
So I wonder if that's what we wrote a book about. Because
That's what the book's about. It's about that. It's gonna be good.
All right, so I can't wait. So that's going to be cool. I can't wait for that. As you guys know, we were one of the first shows to interview him in 2012. There is a video right now that's doing outstanding that's on our Facebook wall that has him from 2012. And it has over 19,000 views, and it's getting like 100, 200 views a day.
Right, yeah.
It's incredible, you guys, and it's like, wow.
It seems
So,
like everybody's interested in
David.
Yeah, and what he's talking about, and that's really interesting. People are disappearing, and maybe they're going in a FEMA camp.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait because obviously there's going to be a lot of stuff I want to talk about. I'm not going to try to trick them and tell them to say Bigfoot or anything like that. We're going to talk about certain cases. I'm going to talk to him about the closing of the park and see if he knows about that. I'm hoping he does. If not, I'd like to talk about that. But we're going to have him for about 90 minutes.
Well, it's good because what he did is he associated, I was reading a little bit about it, a lot of the hot spots, like even the one in Yosemite, the Devil's Post pile.
There you go.
Right? Everywhere where there's like a hot spot has a devil name.
There you go.
All the way, I mean, everywhere. And it could be in Utah, it could be, but only it's always like the Devil's Canyon, the Devil's this.
All right,
Diablo,
guys.
you
We
know.
have a wiener. No more calling.
good.
No more
No
calling.
more calling. Sacktown Al. He said hi.
Sacktown Al.
Al, yeah.
From Sacramento.
He said he wants to trade it for a T-shirt. No, I'm just kidding.
I was
you know what?
like,
We
no.
need to get t-shirts. So, all right. Thank you guys for calling and winning those books. We'll get those out to you ASAP. Again, on September 7th, we're going to have David Paulides on. And again, if you guys want to go back and watch this show that we had with David Paulides, it's on our Facebook wall. I'm sorry, on our website.
Yeah.
Go look at the link where it says Archive Shows, and it's Paulides Missing 411. Listen to it because I think it's one of the best ones that are out there right now. and that's why we're getting so many hits on it. We're getting so many hits.
You can Google or go in YouTube and type David Paulides Missing 411. It'll be the top video that comes up.
We're doing really well on that video.
You'll see Jeff's face with the 411 book right in front of it, the set behind him. It's a nice set.
So I can't wait for that show. It's going to be a good show. Just like every show, every week here, we try to bring you the newest stuff on paranormal and stuff that you haven't heard of. I still have another page that I wanted to talk about. Obviously, I won't be able to because we just ran out of time. Next week, we're going to have, again, some killer stuff. And my intentions here are to blow you away. And I think I'm doing that because a lot of people are now coming and telling me that, dude, I went back and I researched what you said, and it's all true. I thought you were lying.
Yeah.
And I'm opening up their eyes and their brains as well, because again, you're not going to hear this stuff anywhere else. I'm really into the Illuminati, the symbolisms of videos, of movies, and we get this. And we go in and we try to find the symbolisms and we try to show them to you and tell you, well, look, my wife is really into that stuff. She's, I like to say she's my researcher. She has her own private little chair in the family room stacked with paranormal books on the left and on the right.
He's not kidding.
And a little table with a glass of wine, and she's like reading away and has the laptop, and she's like, Jeff, get your butt over here. And I go, what? Listen to this. I'm a holy smoke, and I write it down. And because right now she's on summer break. She's a school teacher, and now she has the availability to just read like mad. And she's coming up with some great stuff, guys. And I definitely want to show you a lot of this stuff because you're not going to get it from anybody else. I tell you that right now because it's the truth. All right? All right. What is the Art Bell people telling us? How many more minutes? How many more seconds? How many more hours? How many more days? How many more weeks?
I couldn't last that long with you two.
Well, according to Dr. Sal, we only have 2
years, and we'll talk about that next year and see if he's telling the truth.
That's gonna scare you, man. We're gonna scare you.
We're gonna scare you guys, and that's our intent, because you're not gonna hear it anyplace else. As simple as that. You're not. So there you go. So all right.
We have Possessed Tranquility, July 25th.
Jesus Christ!
Hurry.
Our band, Possessed Tranquility,
Fulton 55 on July the 25th, 2 weeks from now, is going to have a CD release party, and they're going to be showing their video for the first time. Everybody, we're going. We'll meet you there. Also, this weekend at the Manchester Center in Fresno, they're having that Comic-Con, and Possessed Tranquility is going to perform there. We're going to have a booth. So, yeah, it's free, believe it or not. They're going to have the upper floor of the Manchester Center full of, for all those people who love Comic-Con, cartoons, animations from Japan. This is what it's going to be all about. We're going to set up a booth down there. Actually, we're probably going to have to do it after we get back from the mountains, but there you go. Are we dead? Are we good? All right. We are out of here, people. Thank you very much for showing up.
Bye,
I
everyone.
appreciate it. My name is Jeffrey Gonzalez, Alan Thomas, and Emerald. Good night. Take care. Hasta la vista. See you next week. And I hope you witnessed something that you cannot explain.
You have been listening to Paranormal Central with Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas, broadcasting worldwide at paranormalcentral.net and on artbell.com. Stay tuned for next time. Remember to keep your eyes to the skies. And we hope you witness something you cannot explain.